Hi, my name is Carly Lampard. Thank you for tuning into our Capstone Symposium. Before we start, I want to acknowledge that the land that I live on, learn on, and completed my project on is Coast Salish and Duwamish land. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to jump right into my project. So parks, green spaces, and natural resources are super valuable resources within cities and urban environments like Seattle because they can improve the mental and physical health of the people that use the park and can help to improve the overall health of the city that they are in. However, for these spaces to maintain or to stay safe, usable, and healthy, they need to be maintained. And one of the ways this is done is through urban forest restoration work, which I did for my capstone project. There are many challenges when doing forest restoration work, and one of these is social trails. Social trails are informal trails created by users in parks that are not meant to be there. They can be damaging to the vegetation and the soil, and they can create unsafe park conditions since they're not planned. So for my internship, I did a restoration project with Friends of Lincoln Park, which is a part of the Green Seattle Partnership. So I cleared all unwanted vegetation out of my site and replanted with native species. My site also had a social trail in it, so that is why I chose to focus my research onto preventing these trails and preventing their use. So for my research, I did an in-depth literature review on social trails and other related recreation issues. And then I also did 7 interviews with Green Seattle Partnership forest stewards who have their own restoration sites and are dealing with their own social trails at their sites. So what I discovered through all my research is that there are 3 main methods for preventing social trails, which are messaging, physical barriers, and proactive trail management. So messaging I found is most useful if it actually provides information on the negative impacts of using social trails, and signage can also be useful for differentiating between informal and social trails. Physical barriers is the next one. This can range from fences to just planting vegetation that has thorns to prevent people from using them. And the last aspect is proactive trail management, which is made up of making sure that the trails that are there are well maintained, well marked, and that they match the level of use that the park gets. So overall, more resources should be put towards trail infrastructure and restoration work in general in Seattle to prevent social trails. The Green Seattle Partnership is made up almost entirely of volunteers, which does put some limitations on the amount of resources and time that can be put in to restoration work, and definitely limits the amount of infrastructure that can be put in to protect these sites that people work so hard on. These resources should also be deliberately thought out into balancing the social and ecological goals of a site. So making sure that the amount of trails that are in a park matches the amount of use it gets, while also making sure there's enough green space for the native ecosystem to thrive. For you as the park user, try to stay off of social trails and stay on social trails. I know using that shortcut may seem tempting, but to protect the native ecosystem and the soil and to keep our park safe, try to stay on formal trails. Also, if you're interested, look into volunteering with Green Seattle Partnership. It's a great way to get out into your community and a great way to engage with your local environment and help the native ecosystem. Last of all, I would like to acknowledge my site supervisor, Lisa McGinty. Thank you for coming out every single week with me to work on my site, rain or shine, for 2.5 months. I'd like to thank my faculty advisor, Jim Fridley, for all of his expertise on especially the restoration aspects of my project. And lastly, I'd like to thank all the Green Seattle Partnership forest stewards and volunteers for all the great work you do. All right, so thank you.